Match against LMQ is just really important. Now it's really going big and going to Worlds.
如果能战胜他们的话，是对我们的实力是一个非常好的证明。我们在面对任何队伍的时候都有信心。
We'll just play them and we'll beat them.
A new challenger approaches. Amazing.
Turn on the frenzy. Here we go. They're going to face off against LMQ.
We've gotten better as a team. Like right now, we're hitting our stride.
3rd packs in a row. Always been to Worlds. Hopefully we do that again.
Clean sweep on Counter Logic Gaming.
They're a pretty scary team right now.
Even though we did really well against CLG, we still have a long way to go. Against Cloud9, we're going to need to do even better.
Whoever wins goes to Worlds, and that's probably the biggest thing ever.
People always like to joke about how Curse is like forever fourth, but this year, that's not going to happen.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the 2014 North American LCS Summer Playoffs. Once again, we'll be bringing you a jam-packed day of league action live in Seattle from the Gaming World's Woodstock, PAX Prime. Hello, I'm James Dash Patterson, along with my wingmen of the analyst desk, Aiden Zyrene Moon and Neil Prawley Hamad from Complexity. Guys, it is great to have you here for our semifinal Saturday.
Oh man, it's great to be here alongside my main man Prawley.
Now, before we get into the North American action, a bit of news coming out of Korea. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet and are planning to, spoiler alert, you might want to mute your speakers and avert your eyes for just a minute. I'll give you a second. All right. In a stunning 3-1 series, Najin White Shield defeated reigning world champions SKT T1K. And guys, the world's curse claims yet another victim.
Yeah, I was actually pretty happy in a way just to see, like, oh yeah, they won last time and now they're struggling to get back into Worlds. I kind of like that level of competition's able to step up every year.
Yeah, and it's so crazy to think about that when you are the World Championship, we've never had a World Championship qualify for the next following Worlds consecutively.
It kind of makes you want to finish second, doesn't it?
No, it
doesn't. But there's another curse that's eating up headlines right here at PAX, and we will see them hitting the rift this afternoon. But first up today, it's LMQ versus TSM. We're going to take a look at some video here. Moments ago, LMQ arrived at the venue, loading in for our first semifinal. And of course, we've got Bjergsen here working on his vision game. And then TSM are going to hop into a huddle to go over their game plan for the day. Let's hope they've got a good one because it's going to be a great series. Now, there have already been a ton of hashtag #LolBigPlays popping up on Twitter. Our first comes from Game 3 of the International Wildcard between Kaboom and Pex. At Taylor Chan writes, "That Baron steal. Danagorn is such a beast." Here's your number 3.
Oh, there's the engage. Black shield and shield on the left, and there comes the battle. Wow!
The Baron steal by Danagorn may have just swung this ridiculous game back yet again.
He goes, Dovahkiin, Danagorn!
I mean, that was a huge play to get them back in that game that Pex looked like they were going to walk away with. But from Game 2 of our 5th place match between CLG and Dignitas, at Coolio Bro writes, "Double lift with the quadra kill at the middle lane inner turret, putting the team on his back and carrying." Let's take a look at your number 2.
Oh, he gets him! He gets him on the relentless pursuit, but can he use Curse of the Sad Mummy before he goes down? That squishiness coming into play. A beautiful flash from Link there on the Shockwave, and Shifter will be taken down. CLG is ignoring turrets, and they are dropping Dignitas.
Yeah, that was a nice characteristic double lift play where he gets to bait the fight with his Lucian E and then just gets to go in and clean up everything.
Definitely some moments of brilliance. Unfortunately, not enough to walk away with the series. But last but not least, from Game 3 of that series, Crumbs takes a trip. At ZephHS writes, "Is that Crumbsec? Oh my lord. Let's roll your granddaddy of the big plays."
Telegraph now that they're going to try and do. Dignitas has been acting much better. What a shot on double! He gets the insect and they get the kill with the Mega Inferno. Oh my god, Dignitas is coming up huge. What in the world just happened?
Dignitas successfully defend the Alamo.
They went for the cookie, but all they got was crumbs.
I've got nothing to say to that. Remember to share your pulse-pounding moments by tweeting at LOL Esports. And today we're going back to the good old-fashioned hashtag LCS Big Play, so remember that. The bracket continues to fill out, though, so let's pull it up and see where things stand in the NALCS. With their 3-1 win over Counterlogic Gaming, Dignitas secured the 5th place spot. That means CLG will now turn their focus and preparations to facing one of our North American Challenger Series teams in the upcoming Spring Promotion Tournament, where they'll fight to hold on to their LCS spot. And looking at today, though, we have 2 semifinal series coming your way, starting with TSM, who will face off against the number 2 seed LMQ in our first best of 5. After that, Curse will take on the number 1 seed and defending champions Cloud9. Our winners will advance to the Summer Split Finals, where they will battle it out for the title of champions. They will also lock in a spot to represent North America at the Worlds and compete for the coveted Summoners Cup. Now, without further ado, we're going to send it over to Riv and Jad at the caster desk to get our day started.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello, everyone at PAX Prime. I'm Irving DeBizen III, and with me today is Joshua Jatley.
I'm happy to be here, and the fans that are here are definitely dedicated. A lot of them are waiting out in the rain today in Seattle just to get a nice seat here for this series.
Absolutely. They're ready for the games, so are we.
Yeah.
And I bet you are too. We're diving right into our first semifinal series of the day. That's LMQ versus Team Solo Mid. Once again, these teams are playing for a shot at the title of the Summer Split Champions and a guaranteed spot in the 2014 World Championship. It's worth playing for.
And we've mentioned it before, but TSM, they have made it to Worlds every single year. And when you consider that the 3 champions have never made it back, that's pretty impressive. TSM's on the hunt for a 4th straight trip. In the quarterfinal, they played against Dignitas. They got off to a rough start. They lost the first game, but they kept their cool, and as the series went on, they continued to play better and better. However, with that being said, TSM's actually 0-4 against LMQ in regular season play, and there is kind of a psychological element that can weigh on a team when they face an opponent they haven't been able to beat recently. But if we think back 1 year to last year at PAX, the first game TSM played was against CLG, who they were actually 0-4 with on the regular season, but they 2-0'd them to end up qualifying for Worlds later on.
That's right. Then anything can happen.
They show up at PAX usually.
And while LMQ have had TSM's number this split, as we said, they ended the regular season on a down note. The weakest super week they've had at 2-2. They lost their hold on first place on the very last day after an upset by 7th place Evil Geniuses.
And the bright side for LMQ is that they've faced losses before, and then they've shown that they're a team that they just don't let defeats get them down, really. I will have to be watching for the fact that LMQ last played competitively on stage about a month ago. And some teams kind of come back after that time off, recharge with a renewed focus, but other teams can kind of find that time off makes them rusty. And, you know, LMQ is a team that really rely on their strong communication and team play. So if they've cooled off, they don't have much time to warm up for this TSM series.
That's right. LMQ's aggressive style has worked against TSM so far this split, but Dyrus and company are hoping their new support will help stop LMQ before they can get going.
我觉得打 TSM 我们最大的优势就是在于我们前期滚雪球能力。
They need control early. Like if they get shut down early, they don't know what they have to do.
Their weaknesses is basically their strength. They're not afraid to do anything, and sometimes you can capitalize on it.
主要是 TSM 来了一个新辅助，然后我们发现从一开始战胜他们是比较简单的，然后到后来是越来越难，然后
I have met them in Korea. I'm not worried about them.
如果回想到以前，就是在 LCS 就常规赛打他们的时候，就是我们全胜他们。
We have been 0-4 in the regular season, but we had so many issues that had to be sorted out. LMQ really has one play stand that's over aggression. If they can't perform that, they will lose the game.
我们要赢得这场比赛，我觉得还是就打出自己的就队伍的就特性吧，就发挥好自己的，我觉得我们能赢。
Really putting a lot of consideration on that bot lane, and with Lustboy in their last matchup, it was the closest game they had against LMQ.
I know they still haven't trumped them yet, but honestly, TSM looked very good in that playoff series against Dignitas, and we really do have to see how LMQ looks after that time off.
That's right, so let's get right into it with a quick look at the starting lineups. On the blue side, it will be LMQ. That's top lane Ackerman, No Name in the jungle, Xiao Zhao in the mid lane, Vasily at AD, and more right behind him at support.
Yeah, the red side, however, will be TSM for this game one. Dyrus in the top lane. amazing in the jungle. Bjergsen in mid lane, Wild Turtle on AD carry, and Lustboy very confidently on support.
Yes, he is. That takes us into our featured matchup for this series, the men in the mid lane. It's going to be a battle of Xiao versus Bjergsen. This is a battle between the Spring Splits MVP versus a player who has already claimed the All-League mid lane title and is a league candidate to take the title for the summer split altogether.
Yeah, and Riv, both these guys have been playing very well. And Bjergsen's Syndra play in the first quarterfinal week was absolutely superb. And throughout the split, Bjergsen stepped up as a leader for his team, but that kind of hurt him a little bit in individual 1v1s, where Xiao is kind of to this split what Bjergsen was to last year.
Right.
He's the guy who's been carrying his team individually, it seems, with huge breakout performances and really made himself the preeminent mid laner in North America, but it's still close. These guys are good friends, and it's going to be a showdown in the mid lane.
They are so ready. It's been so long since they've played, almost 2 patches. We see in the last game, Gragas was still being banned against Ackerman in the top lane. So these guys have had a lot to really clear out and get ready coming into the semifinal.
Xiao looking into the camera like he's never seen it before. What is this new plays? Behind those doughy eyes, he's a killer. Like he's top kills in the LCS. Definitely.
He's a silent killer, one of the most silent on the team, but he makes things happen.
One of the most interesting things I've heard about for people who have been able to listen to the LMQ comms is Xiao is almost silent in communications. It's always No Name and More who do the majority of the shot calling. So that kind of allows Xiao to just completely focus on finding those individual kills, which it was Prawley who brought it up actually on the analyst desk. That's what Bjergsen did a lot more of last split, was find those 1v1 kills. But now that he's more in a shot calling role, it seems like instead of finding the windows, Bjergsen's more trying to figure out when to go to the next dragon or how he can rotate to the top lane to try and get a kill. And he may have lost a little bit of that killer instinct, which Xiao currently has very strongly.
It's crazy because it also changes with the patches of who they're playing. Those assassins have been out. We have been seeing a lot of Zed, so that could be very good in the hands of Bjergsen. Syndra's going to be banned out first as we start the picks and bans.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Zed on the ban screen because Bjergsen has been wrecking people with it. The Syndra ban makes a whole lot of sense. A little surprised that it's on the blue side, actually.
Good call.
Because we've been seeing a lot of that being picked by the blue side team to avoid the counter pick coming in from the red side team. But it really seems like LMQ has their eyes on Bjergsen as far as these bans are concerned.
Yeah, throwing it right down. They're not afraid to say what they are thinking. Like I said, one of my favorites is that teams will just kind of put anything out there in the first game. You got 5 games to go, possibly, and really anything can happen. Most of these matches as well between TSM and LMQ throughout the season were above 30 to 40 and 50 minutes, so they could easily go for 50-minute games here.
It was a little bit strange watching these guys play during the regular season because LMQ came out with so much fast early aggression. They would get a 3,000 or 4,000 gold lead early on in the game.
Yeah.
And then TSM would never really try and get it back, and they would just slowly get a larger and larger gold deficit until LMQ would just end up winning the game. So TSM will have to do something a little bit differently, especially in the early game plan, or have to change their mid to late game play style against LMQ here.
Very interesting.
Maokai was not banned.
No.
I wonder if we'll see it picked early.
Nunu's taken out, especially by LMQ. Amazing has been picking that up recently and increasing his champion pool, something that was criticized much throughout the season.
Amazing played a fantastic quarterfinal.
Yep.
The pick ban trading here will be really interesting if this Rise ends up getting locked in. Something a little bit unique about LMQ in the pick ban phase is when they're blue side, 50% of their first picks end up going top lane, the highest in the LCS, which would tell me even though this Rise is a flex pick, there is a decently large chance that it ends up going.
What kind of advantage does that give you?
It just basically shows that Ackerman is a reliable guy. He also picked up Gragas before the rest of the LCS did, really. And
yeah, we could say that.
The way the top lane meta is right now, you can pick a lot of things that don't necessarily have strong counter picks, and they just put them in the hands of their reliable player.
And Ackerman, not like many other, is one that will try to 1v1 you in that top lane, has the potential to, and most of the champions he brings to the table. See Lost Boy, of course.
I mean, someone's going to stop Lustboy from playing Nami eventually, right? He played it in all 4 quarterfinal games. Even when TSM had Glebe, it was TSM's favorite support.
Still trying to throw it?
Oh, man. Enough about Nami. That's a really early Yasuo pick.
It's not the first time Xiao has done that. Now we're seeing something that he can synergize with for the knockup, but he is not afraid to just continuously blind pick for himself.
Yeah, well,
wow.
Looking at the pick and bans, it's a bit safer of a Yasuo pick than you would normally see.
Okay.
Syndra, Zed, and Ryze are all actually pretty good picks against Yasuo. They're all gone at the moment. They've picked Ryze for themselves, and Syndra and Zed are banned. So actually, even though it kind of seemed like LMQ was banning out Bjergsen, they were also banning so that they could blue side pick Yasuo.
Very interesting. Really wanting to get under the skin here, and Bjergsen wants to see the rest of the team before they even give him something. Zilean instantly locked in, and the Tristana as well. That's going to be big. Last matchup was a 10-0 for Tristana for Vasily, so he's going to be happy on that main.
These look like really decisive, smart picks by LMQ.
They were instant almost.
It all just kind of came together right at the end. You know, there was no Tristana ban. I wonder if the Yasuo pick threw TSM for a bit of a loop because they picked it so early, and then no blocking on Trist whatsoever. A lot of confidence from TSM that they can get past with that. And I really wonder what the counter pick is going to be for Yasuo from Bjergsen's side. We haven't seen him on much Fizz, but it is one thing that can cut through the wind wall pretty well.
Yep. Seeing how it would synergize with the rest of his team right now. Just pretty much 2 champions in water.
Be a lot of late game carrying, yeah. The Nami Fizz synergy under the sea.
But yeah, it's kind of a runaround. They have a good fight squad. If they can get Fizz in there with a Mundo.
It seems like they're going to be going for it. They must just be adjusting mastery pages at the moment.
Bam.
Wow.
Fizz lock in game 1. That's when you got to get those tries in. That's when you got to test the waters.
You could say that for sure. All right, so Fizz is a champion we haven't seen much of in the North American LCS, but it's definitely been gaining a whole bunch of popularity worldwide. European LCS and playoffs and near the end of the regular season, there's many Fizz players that drew a lot of bans. Also in China, it's a permaban against certain teams who have mastered Fizz in the mid lane. So if it's something that Bjergsen has actually been training well, it is absolutely lethal. It's just not something that is common in the North American scene.
Be very interested to see how Bjergsen brings this one out. Like we said before, we haven't seen these 2 teams go at it for quite some time. They've had a lot of time to figure each other out. We'll talk a little bit more about that as the teams load onto the Rift. We're going to see who you guys are saying are going to win this series. Coming up according to LOLesports.com, 64% of you are calling this one for TSM, so it's still very close. Even with pretty much the home turf, everybody's going to be chanting TSM today.
Definitely feels like home turf. PAX is always home turf for TSM. Remember, though, keep sending the picks throughout. Tweet at LOLesports, the hashtag LMQWin or the hashtag TSMWin. We'll be checking back on that throughout the game. I really am excited about this pick and ban phase, actually. Just because...
Tell me why.
I'm not even sure yet. Right? It's just the way the teams came together. Like, the fact that LMQ stuck to their guns with the first pick of Ryze for the top lane like they usually do.
Yeah.
They actually banned around a pick for themselves instead of almost banning against an opponent, which is something you do not see very frequently from teams. And then LMQ just put together so many synergies on their team because of that strategy, being able to combo the Trist with the Yasuo and then still getting a Zilean. It's impressive.
Very impressive team fight they can be putting together. We'll see if LMQ gets what they want. Like Dyrus said, the thing that they're best at is also their weakness is kind of not caring and always going in. TSM wants to take advantage of the mistakes when they're always going in. Let's see if they can get that off in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, you would think Dyrus wasn't making much sense when he said that, but it actually does.
It makes sense.
Makes sense for that one.
Their craziness, it's good and bad.
The Cleaver War.
Yeah.
Took a little bit more than he
haven't seen this in a while.
Gave right there. Yeah, defensive starts here. TSM actually didn't get much 2v2 laning in during their semifinals. Dignitas lane swapped him almost every single game.
Even from that red side.
Which was actually very interesting, or a curious choice to me, because the TSM duo lane throughout the regular season did not perform well in 2v2s. Wild Turtle was almost always behind his opponent in CS. And Vasily, in this case, is usually ahead of his opponent in CS.
Absolutely.
Which would make you think that LMQ wants the 2v2. The other wrinkle we have in here is the Zilean versus Nami matchup. It's one of actually the few matchups where Zilean doesn't do well recently. Nami can actually win that one if if played just right. So I really want to see how that 2v2 unfolds.
And Lustboy, he's on his favorite. He's got that main, like you said.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be 5 games in a row across the board that he's played it. And we're talking about Vasily and more. How much kind of respect that TSM gives them. Throughout the season, they have an 80.6 kill participation from that bottom lane, starting things off and getting quite a few kills and momentum for the team.
And you can see a nice little clever move there. Moore put down his ward with his early trinket, went back, bought a sweeper to start the laning.
Yeah.
When that cools down, he'll be able to sweep a little bit. Also a really, really aggressive summoner spell choice by LMQ. Oftentimes when you have a Trist lane, since her explosive shot holds healing reduction, you don't see the support also take Ignite. So very limited defensive options from this bottom lane of LMQ. If TSM is able to get aggressive, LMQ won't have much to keep themselves alive.
Well, they're already trying to get the push right now and hopefully create pressure in this bottom lane, and they can just harass Turtle with those bombs under the turret. This is already what they want, and they can get that level 2 fast. So good on them in the bottom lane. We'll see if Moore can really make things happen and keep the vision. They give a lot of respect to Lustboy. When he came onto the team, that was kind of their focus. That's the change that TSM could have needed, and LMQ consistently says that.
Yeah, it's the underestimated thing from Zilean as well. The global experience boost that Zilean can grant the team, meaning all the solo lanes can also hit level 2 a little bit sooner than normal. We'll give LMQ slight edges in these lanes, but this is the featured matchup we're really going to be looking for. Bjergsen versus Xiao Xiao, how that ends up playing out.
So far, not too shabby. Obviously, they're not going to get any pressure at this point, but Xiao Xiao is the guy we said has been going for the 1v1 kill. They may not be able to do that with the safety that Fizz can provide for Bjergsen. And we were talking a little bit about his kind of mentality change throughout the season, being able to focus on the mid game, but now he's the strat caller. He's the one that doesn't focus on those kills. See if it actually affects his assassin play here on Fizz.
Well, he's definitely been getting back to assassins in scrim play and has drawn multiple assassin bans. And he had some pretty spectacular Cinder games. Their last set against Dignitas.
Absolutely. Slow movement up here. TSM seems to have
the gank,
but they don't have the vision in the brush. Simple brush control. Wow, coming up with a bomb for first blood. That is absolutely huge. Flash down as well and heal for TSM.
Wow, just not the best overall map awareness there by Lustboy. He basically walked straight into the brush, and that was one of those situations where if a jungler's there, you die. If a jungler's not there, you gain a little bit of lane pressure. So as far as risk management goes, it's not a smart brush to check, something that did not happen at all during this quarterfinal match against Dignitas. Lustboy played pretty much flawlessly.
Yeah.
Makes the first mistake of the series, however.
Great control, LMQ knowing where they need to put the first bit of pressure on. And it looks like they're going to be all right. TSM knows they're going to have to play this one very safe now and get that farm up. See where No Name's going to be heading after this. See if he feels that pressure in the bottom lane was significant enough to try and go for a pre-6 Mundo gank in the top lane to get Dyrus shut down as well.
Yeah, that would be a pretty bold move. Ackerman seems to be holding his own pretty well against Mundo. That's going to be a farm trading matchup. Both those top laners scale quite generously. The main thing that will have to be tracked still is the mid lane between Fizz and Yasuo here. I want to see really the first item buys, whether Xiao Xiao is willing to just go with the Avarice Blade right off the bat, or if he tries to pick up a Zeal for a bit more combat effectiveness. Depends on whether he wants to get aggressive in the lane or if he's just trying to farm it out. Against Fizz, though, if Fizz starts to get a lead on you, Fizz will completely kind of shut you out because the vast amount of kill pressure that happens there. Although there is a gank approaching.
Didn't hear any pings out of that. He actually stayed out of vision. Xiao Xiao keeps himself safe. We get a little bit of roam here from Moore. He's going to try to get some forward wards in and start helping LMQ. Make sure they don't get any counter ganks here from Amazing on the backside. They want to pressure that bottom lane. Already a pink ward in the Tribal.
We'll see if LMQ's vision control can start starving out TSM here. This is actually what pretty much led to all of TSM's defeats to LMQ in the regular season. An early game misstep, and then never being able to recover against LMQ. They have to find a way to recover here. Otherwise, the LMQ early game will continue to lead to victory. Another one of those face checks!
Whoa, he just walked through the ward. Mord ate that and forced the flash there. A little bit of miscommunication with the vision that they actually had. Great job by Amazing to just keep it going through. They gain a bit of ground back in that lane. They're still down those summoners, though.
Super close right there. If Lustboy would have been able to queue up a bubble for that, they would have been able to secure a kill, but luckily the flash got in just at the right time.
Look at the damage match. 2 pickaxes by the 80 carries in the bottom lane. Oh, more damage. Ardent Blaze just missing as Vasili's forced to jump away. Looks like he's going to go home on this one.
See that pickaxe to pickaxe.
Yeah.
From 80 carries. However, a Lucian pickaxe is much more valuable than a Trist pickaxe early on. Just because Lucian has a lot of AD ratios on his spells, whereas Trist does not.
Yeah, that was a really good choice. Coming back, giving him the 1-2 pop and really be able to win the lane.
This is just really bad timing. Bjergsen just recalled.
Actually, Xiao's moving up as well, so whether he
has to give it up.
Freights out of this too, and then he's even going to put
Reed would
pressure
be
on
the thing that would kill Amazing right here.
Oh, they're having a party now. 3's a crowd. Ackerman joins in. Level 6 is between those top laners, and No Name. Going to get a little bit of that experience. Does grab the red. They're going to be out.
Nice movement there by No Name. Will be able to deny Amazing that buff. Also a pretty critical juncture for Amazing. That would have given him level 6 and his first evolution on Kha'Zix. But he's going to have to wait a little bit longer for that now.
Yeah, that was pretty beneficial for No Name. Amazing missing the smite a bit and a just quick sonic wave to steal out the red. He has his smite still, so they can go down to the bottom and maybe pressure that lane and have a nice dragon early. Be kind of risky, though. Seems like TSM sees that.
Xiao actually farmed so well on Yasuo, he didn't have to back until he could pick up the Abyss and the Zeal.
Wow.
Almost was able to farm out for a full static shiv, but not quite.
And Bjergsen says, I want to be able to return that damage as well. Sheen coming out and trying to dodge a bit of that damage in what would be a Zhonya's.
Yeah.
Not even trying to attack, they're just going for the farm there. Could have had a quick Q and out for harassment.
When they decide to fight, you'll know the damage will come out. But they're respecting each other. And also they're respecting the jungles really heavily right now. You can see how far away the wards are in that mid lane. Jungle approaches could definitely happen if they engage each other. I think that's the main thing stopping them from fighting each other right now, is the general lack of jungle vision. Fizz actually runs into an Ackerman, but he gets away.
He'll get away just fine. Talking to Crapo earlier, saying Lustboy is a huge provider of vision for the team. Really kind of picked up a different level of that. So once these guys in the bottom lane of TSM can get out, Lustboy can start to provide that. Maybe they'll have a bit more control over objectives, those forward wards that can really start to pay off in vision later in the game. Slow movements toward this dragon though, Jat. They're still somewhat looking at it, and Xiao would be a huge factor to fight in this one with his item threshold.
More hitting level 6 here is very key for LMQ. The chrono shift from Zillion is really critical right now. Also, Lustboy just chunked down a mana potion because he's having a little bit of trouble keeping up with the bomb harass damage, but because of the mana potion, he was able to sustain up Wild Turtle. I really wonder if we're going to be seeing that dragon shortly. Because of the blue buff steal, Ackerman was able to get his own blue buff, which is really helping them in the top lane against Dyrus.
Also going for the tier, getting more damage out of that, but these guys are looking for the late game. They're not afraid to kind of lose pressure in the lanes that are on the outside. Bottom's already got a few kills. No Name has himself going almost up to his item as well. So very close by the junglers. Amazing's done a good job to keep himself in, even though he's been denied that red. We have not seen him yet, though. He did start to come out big in the previous match. Saw against Dig.
TSM had a lot of big plays in that series, but even then, they were saying they just do not play the same on LAN as they do during scrims. And the same may be evident here. They just do not seem to have a huge amount of decisiveness. They want to try and get Xiao, though. He burns his tornado, yet he's able to just walk away. Potentially
straight down. Fish goes on. There's the exhaust, but the damage is going to be from Amazing as well. Xiao tries to dash back through. This is crowd control coming in. He throws his own ultimate down. Can Ackerman capitalize on this kill? Yes, he does. Dyrus has also come in. He will not be able to get a kill off of this. but they are able to somewhat disengage the fight. Vasily could be getting hit up here. Big moves coming in. Great turnaround. Wild Turtle waiting for the chrono shift to go down. He's trying to focus the damage in the correct way, but No Name gets in his face, and he's going to make it even harder. Dragon's Rage back to the wall, and they are now so split. Lustboy doing what he can on the back line. Dyrus has enough time to come down to the bottom lane now.
What an escape right there by LMQ. While everything was happening, they managed to get the dragon and then escape the collapse from TSM because of the ultimate from Zilean and a sneaky escape right there by Vasily. So what seemed like a good start for TSM getting the kill turned to disaster. So they get the dragon. Immediately Vasily jumps in and a really nice tidal wave cuts across too. But then the chrono shift goes on, so Wild Turtle doesn't want to finish off Vasily. Unfortunately, Vasily continued to charge, so they have to proc it. And now it's all about Turtle being out of mana and LMQ continuing to chase. When No Name pushes Turtle back right here, it actually gives Vasily a way of escaping from Dyrus. He gets the kill, which resets his jump and allows him to hop away from the Mad Mundo, which adds a 2,000 gold lead to the side of LMQ.
Very quickly falling in LMQ's favor here. They usually do not let go of a lead. TSM was saying that in the early game. If they get the early lead, then that probably could be the game. It has not been stopped here in game one. So big plays coming up. LMQ being very omnipresent and controlling their teleports well on that one. Dyrus trying to go coast to coast. Who does lose a bit in the top lane, but he's been up in CS, so they don't lose too much out of that. However, that dragon, very big for LMQ. TSM has the timer, so we'll definitely see another fight going down at Dragon. And it looks so close. These fights looked like it was going in TSM's favor a lot, but the disengage from LMQ there was great.
One of the things that happens with Zilean, he just turns fights around. The teleport from Ackerman as well to get the kill back on Amazing was really key. Potentially losing control of this game a little bit from TSM's side.
Has to be playing on their minds. Things that don't go right one after the other like that definitely gets a little tense. Still see Infinity Edge builds coming in from both Wild Turtle and Vasily. That's going to be helping Wild Turtle. They can still fight, but it's the Zilean and the bombs that are really changing that lane. We've seen Lustboy have a bit of trouble, as we said, trying to sustain this lane, chugging mana pots still up here to level 7. And looks like it's almost a bit of a freeze here. It's like, come up, let us bomb you, and then we'll go.
Yeah, level 7, 4 more. There's a lot of bomb damage from Brass, but Wild Turtle,
that damage,
if he gets up into his grill, can do a whole bunch more. The bombs, though, they're going to try and turn this one around. Remember, they still have the Zilean ult for when someone gets low.
Back and forth, the bomb went on Turtle as soon as the tidal wave came out. A little miscommunication on when they wanted to kill. A flash in, he gets the buster shot, the bomb, there it is. That's the reset, but they're not going to go any farther.
That is some nice 2v2 play by Vasily and Moore, knowing their limits and knowing the turnaround potential right there. That's why they want this 2v2 right there. They're playing it well, and they're at the level where they are strong. Remember, there's still a Zilean ult right now, so this gank from Amazing didn't use the ult.
Did not. Just gets himself right in range. Quick bite, takes him down. Very nicely done.
That's one way of doing it.
Just use the flash. Why not?
Just kill him before he reacts. Was he low on mana or something? It seemed like he was all right. No, he still had enough mana to ult himself on Zilean. He just
didn't think he was going to get the fast flash.
Or he didn't want to burn it, but...
Well, it's a good job by Amazing to be reactive here. Yeah. Definitely something needs to be done right now with this 2,000 gold deficit. And it will help if he can get big and really participate in these dragon fights and not be as squishy Kazakhs. Xiao 164 to 140, keeping consistent in him versus his opponents. They're usually down in CS by the 10, 15, and 20-minute mark, and that has not changed for Xiao in the mid lane. Such a staple player, and pretty much, for not saying anything, he can lead the team with just his plays.
Yeah, his mechanics in the mid lane definitely lead an advantage, which makes shot calling much easier.
Yeah.
When your mid laner is always ahead, for some reason the game's just really easy to call.
It's like there's no pressure anywhere.
Yeah.
Minute and 30 left on Dragon. That's where TSM's hoping to find that headstrong play from LMQ and really take them by surprise. We already seen Wild Turtle able to put out some good damage. He's focusing more damage as well. He didn't get the critical cloak. He started going for the brutalizer of what would be in his Ghost Blade because it's going to help in the lane.
Those bombs continue to chunk.
Yep.
Little Wild Turtle right here, and they got to be careful that the same thing doesn't happen again. This time there is some junglers waiting to run into each other. Sweeping out the ward may stop this counter gank from happening altogether.
A trade of skill shots. Junglers get out, but they both know where each other are, and this is pretty much going to be a mill about in the bottom lane with the next 45 seconds on Dragon. Vasily knows he has enough time to back. It's good to document that. 45 seconds, go back, and he's back to Dragon.
Yeah, both teleports up. Dyrus really needs to hit level 11 for a more powerful heal on his ult. TSM wants to get vision control over the Dragon area, but it's very expensive to go and get that at the moment. You can see very limited vision from LMQ, actually. See if they can sneak in there to get some supremacy here. The key thing is LMQ knows they're ahead, so I think they're banking on the fact that they should just be able to group and go if TSM starts the Dragon. But vision would be what TSM needs to try and sneak back in this game. Landing a nice shark from Fizz or a bubble over the wall could very well turn the tides here.
You don't say. Oh, it looks like... Whoa, speed up, going straight aggressive. He gets him on the jump. No name, baby.
Oh, he didn't do the right ward jump.
He's going to go ahead and get the kick. He knows it can activate the last breath. Lust Boy's going to be going down, and they are focusing what would be that vision provider for TSM.
Or they just rush in, burn 2 ultimates, and get an easy kill before the tidal wave can even be used. I don't think TSM decides to contest this one without a tidal wave or disengage.
Such a great game so far for LMQ. More 2, 1, and 2. Great kill participation.
They're looking aggressive. How much poke can they actually get down here?
Vasily could shut Turtle could shut down Vasily with the damage he's got right now. They decided to back off. That teleport comes in. Amazing. He's going to be left going. He gets the Rune Prison, though. That's going to cancel out any of that movement that he gets, and LMQ just goes ahead and walks that one to the home plate.
That is just an old bad habit right there by TSM. It seemed like they were not on the same page whatsoever. Half the team wanted to turn, half the team didn't want to go in. You could see that by the dueling teleports from LMQ and TSM. Dyrus canceled his, it looked like. Ackerman completed his. Amazing had not retreated because the communication either came in last minute or wasn't communicated, and it leads to the death of yet another TSM member and a big gold deficit.
LMQ's not going to be letting go anytime soon. Dyrus still trying to pressure the top lane here, and he's not gotten much. 1-0-1 as Ackerman's gotten kills off of rotating around the map, so no lane is really feeling overpressure here from LMQ.
I mean, this is just a 3v4, but TSM thinks they have enough poke from the Kha'Zix and Lucian that they can go in, but the wind wall actually shorts the fish. That's why it wasn't able to go. When the Fizz ult hits the wind wall, it won't kill it, but it will stop right at the wall, which means it couldn't connect to Xiao Chao. That flopped the initiation, which was then turned around by LMQ because of the teleport.
Turtle actually tried to summon her heal. Amazing out of that, so they lost that too right at the end of the fight.
Yeesh.
All these little things just taking against TSM cannot be helping the mentality as well. Best of 5 though. This first game could really just kind of be in LMQ's hands.
Let's see how much damage they get down.
Oh my god.
No.
Obliterated instantly. Enough slows and crowd control to lock down Dyrus. He'll be getting hit up here. They may actually find Bjergsen in that time. Very nice flash over the thick part of the wall. Dyrus makes that count. Bjergsen can stay in mid lane.
Just way too much damage dealt in that 2v2 for Amazing to deal with. Perfect timing on the counter gank from No Name right there, and now it just seems to be going from bad to worse. None of TSM's lanes are doing well right now.
No. And LMQ is making sure that stays. Mana for days with a Chalice and Tier in the bot lane. Bombs keep coming out, keeping TSM under the turret. Bjergsen's not getting a roam on that he can get Vasily or more as they're always at the turret. Great pressure by LMQ all the way around.
Yeah, it was an explosive shot max by Vasily on his itemization. You see a lot of Trists only go 3 or so points in explosive shot, but I feel like because of the bomb harass as well as the explosive shot, they want to just max harass damage, and they're getting these long extended fights, so it's ending up to work better for them. And he's getting pretty far ahead of Wild Turtle and items as well. Infinity Edge and Zeal. It's right around the time when Trist starts getting her power back over Lucian. 6,000 gold is just a very, very strong performance from LMQ in Game 1, all the way from the pick and ban phase. The 2 early bans, the early rise in Yasuo picks, TSM not being able to come up with sufficient counter matchups, and just great counter ganks throughout by No Name.
Very focused on Bjergsen. That's kind of somebody said, why not in the last match they just get at least Syndra out of his hands? He's too much of a force with anything, and they throw him back on maybe a 6th champion, a 5th that he hasn't played in a while.
Exactly, they put him onto Fizz. I don't think he's probably practiced that much Fizz because you don't see that many bans and picks targeted away from Bjergsen's champion pool. It's not like he's performed poorly either, but he's just not being able to dominate the lane, and by conversion of that, he hasn't been a larger threat if he just gets followed by Xiao Xiao, and TSM is getting a little bit bullied on all facets of the map.
Yeah, it almost works against...
Well, that's Baron for sure, because Darius is teleported down to the bot lane for a gank.
Oh my gosh, no map control over Baron. TSM is really just trying to claw at anything they can get right now. So far, it's Vasily. LMQ more is going to go down. They pick up 2 kills, but they may not even notice because the bus won't show. These guys are going to pop out into lane with a surprise.
Yep, so just a nice move there by LMQ. You could see TSM had absolutely no presence in the Baron area. 2 kills is not the worst thing that could happen for TSM, but still having Baron on Ryze, Yasuo, and Lee Sin, plus the Baron gold, definitely gives that trade towards LMQ.
It's not the first time they've taken a 22-minute Baron game. Just saying, just before that engagement with now Bjergsen having to consider mid, now having to try and play that assassin potential, his shot calling is kind of dwindled there. He's got so many things to think about in this game now. And now it's going to be top lane, and LMQ's going very hard into Dyrus. They bring a 3rd one for the party this time. It's enough to take him down. They're going to be able to grab the turret. There's a method to this madness.
Absolutely deleted up there. Rod of Ages being completed on Ackerman. He's actually going a little bit defensive early on in his Ryze build just because they have so much damage with this team comp already. Xiao Xiao shredding through Dyrus with that Blade of the Ruined King. They make really short work of TSM's main tank.
That is quite interesting. Ackerman knows. He just wants more. So the 2 static shivs are going to continuously push in TSM very hard as LMQ moves themselves up to the front door.
Sorry.
Thought you were ready. I was giving it to you. 8-4 here, 23-45. I don't see this one being in TSM's favor. Something's going to have to happen. We had some crazy games yesterday. Definitely mistakes that can be made, but LMQ is really not the team to be doing that. 41.2 to 33.8. Yeah, headstrong for the victory here. Might be even under 30 if they can get a really good fight. This Baron's going to keep it strong.
It definitely seems like LMQ's going for this sub 30-minute win here. If they can just keep on going, 7,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
Strong tanks going in. Willingness to initiate. Complete dragon control. Everything kind of on the way. At the moment, it looks like Xiao Xiao can be a split pusher if he wants to. No one really on TSM can deal with him right now. It seems like maybe Bjergsen if he lands the right combo because of the Zhonya's to maybe ward off some of that damage, but as far as a straight up 5v5, TSM can't touch LMQ.
No, not at all. And like we said, that came from picks and bans. It was a game where LMQ selected whatever they wanted, even though they saw things on the side of TSM. They really weren't giving any care to it. Not giving any care to these middle turrets either, and they're going to be on the inhibitors only 25 minutes in. TSM set up the last bit of wards that are going to give them safety outside their base.
Yet they're still not able to defend these turrets. They're trying to get some split push going down from Dyrus, but this puts them at actually a pretty big risk because they're at the teleport disadvantage right now. Ackerman could teleport in and Dyrus would not be able to match, which could create a 5v4 dive for LMQ if they really decide to get aggressive here. Not the game one TSM was hoping for.
No, absolutely not. We're talking to Reginald previously, definitely stated that these scrims went a lot better. But teams also say that LMQ won't give you a scrim you want. They won't give you something that shows them what they have. Shows you what they have.
LMQ is notoriously bad in scrims, and whether that's something that just happens from intentional play from LMQ or whether it's just the fact that they don't necessarily know how to take scrims seriously, it's not always an intentional thing. When you're in a high pressure situation versus a low pressure situation, how you perform is up to the individual. And TSM is a team that we talk to their opponents. TSM's great in scrims. They're probably the best team in North America as far as their performance. They don't lose best of fives as far as what they've been practicing for the playoffs. Yet when they played against Dignitas, they were saying they played way worse in that series.
Yeah.
Far worse. And then coming into today, TSM was saying if they can just play like they do in scrims, win no problem. but they only play like they do in scrims about 30% of the time.
Right.
Whereas LMQ gets trashed on in scrims. But as soon as it gets to the LCS stage, it's like they're a completely different team.
Very interesting way to play the game. Maybe they feel like they just have such an upper hand on their opponents due to that aspect. And it gives them the edge to feel like they can play confident, because that's the style they bring all the time. It's pure confidence. Just set up a wind wall and let me dash in front of your turret. These guys are not afraid to go in. Wild Turtle's gonna be hit up. That's a bomb that he can't get away from. Bjergsen throws down the Zanyas. It doesn't even jump the water.
This is a great fight for TSM though.
Out the ultimate. Xiao getting hurt. There's the exhaust going down. He's actually able to take down Xiao amazing, doing a great job. So, there it is. Ackerman and the team go in a little too hard, and it starts to bite back against them.
Wow, so TSM gets a 5-for-1 ace when all is said is done, and they get the kill onto Bjergsen. TSM was down 10,000 gold before that fight, but the dive just went completely pear-shaped. I'm pretty sure we'll have to see that again. Bjergsen hit everyone in that fight because the wind wall was burned early, so there was nothing to stop the Shark, and I think he wrecked them right there. So yes, they do get the catch on to Wild Turtle. No Name jumps in, flashes behind Wild Turtle. They delete him right off the bat, but the question is, what do they burn? The turret's on No Name. Watch for Bjergsen and the Shark. So he basically deletes Vasily before anything happens. And since the ultimate was burned on just a single target of TSM, the damage was actually gone there from LMQ. So not a very well orchestrated turret dive, keeping TSM in this game. Ooh. That was very unexpected.
Very unexpected indeed. LMQ going a little too hard. That's their sub 30-minute win they were looking for, Jet. Not something that they executed correctly. So a flaw coming out here finally in the 28-minute game for LMQ. They have to reconsider now how these fights go.
And also remember that the Zillion ult pretty much wasn't a factor that fight. The damage came too quickly and it was too chaotic to actually land a priority Zillion ult. Now it's going to be about Baron and Dragon control. TSM doesn't have the greatest vision, and the catch potential from LMQ is still massive.
I gotta see what happens when Wild Turtle's in that fight. He got canceled out almost immediately. Oh, he brings over the Chum the Water, so
what a bait!
Gonna be him.
What a bait!
Indeed, a bait it was. Dyrus is now in the middle of the fight. He's gonna be protecting and peeling as Xiao goes in. He gets the back line to Lustboy, but they're all gonna have to dash away. Bjergsen tries to go for the solo kills, but they all have too much focus on him from LMQ inside the river. TSM now turns face, and they're going straight for LMQ's top and bottom lane. Almost take out Vasily. And it looks like it's going to be the turnaround once again. Who's going to be the one standing in the end of this one, though? It looks like the TSM bars as they continuously batter down on LMQ. A little bit of a lead is going a long way now.
A 4-for-2, a really split up fight right there. You can see the Zillion ult made them kind of forget about Vasily for a while, and he took him down. If they get this Baron, though, they may very well be completely even or even ahead in this game.
Chad, it looks like they've just turned the lights out on LMQ, not seeing these engagements come in, a little flustered in the engagements. We'll have to see. Game one definitely proving to be pretty
quick can get this Baron down, though.
That Baron quite low right now. It looks like it's...
Oh, man, the steal is a real opportunity.
Sonic Wave's on, goes in.
Stolen!
Oh, my God, it was actually stolen by Vasily! Look at him, yelling to the team. They know what they just did, and TSM pretty much gives it back on a platter.
They just couldn't get that Baron down fast enough without their AD carry or the Fizz there. And just as LMQ's aggression puts them in a hole, it also pulls them back out. The willingness to just fly in and go for that Baron steal in a 2v3 or more.
It's LMQ. We gotta remember, these are the guys that come back to fights one at a time, but can make it happen. Stopping Barons, taking Barons. It's consistently throughout the season, and they just do it perfect.
And now they're just tanking this turret up without minions, getting it quite low. They know Dyrus and Lustboy haven't revived yet. They get the turret this time.
Wow.
Does TSM try another fight? The inhibitor is getting up. There's the wind wall. Do they go?
Wild Turtles keeping it.
They're around the wind wall.
That wind wall, Ackerman taking a lot of
damage.
They're going. He doesn't have a whole lot of army yet, just that Glacial Shroud up. It is very helpful. You can see Turtle didn't shred right through him. But man, they are considering these moments when they're in there. It is scary.
What a roller coaster of events right there. The words from Dyrus before the game where he said LMQ's greatest strength is also their greatest weakness could not be more true than they were just there. The overaggression gives LMQ the lead, takes it away, and then grants it right back. TSM still wants to find a fight, but that tidal wave is still on cooldown. TSM has proven that they can win fights if they get the right spell combos off.
Wild Turtle is definitely up in items, so if he can get those shots out, he will be dropping people. The wall's up, he is the man to clear. They're not going to have any trouble with that top inhibitor turret. LMQ is playing the waiting game.
So many ridiculously close encounters happened on the lead up to that Baron. It was nearly a clean ace from TSM, but they just lost Bjergsen and Wild Turtle from slivers of health.
Yeah.
And it ends up just at the end of the day giving LMQ the Baron buff.
It's so crazy. I think TSM just brought that back. LMQ already back on the doorstep, peppering another inhibitor turret here, keeping it to a practically 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, this is tricky. Darius has gotten very low from the harass. Plus, if Vasily just tags him with an explosive shard or more throws an ignite at him, he wouldn't be much of a tank at this point. But he pops the ultimate to push them off the turret for now. They don't have much longer, though. I mean, the move speed is now gone from Mundo. They have to use this culling for wave clear. Really good timing, clearing one more wave, allowing the super minions to be cleared at the base. TSM buys themselves much needed time.
Very intense. I'm expecting a tidal wave anytime from Lust Boys to go in here. Wait for that wind wall to be down so it just doesn't get countered. But it's because LMQ is going to want to just go under this turret if they don't get it right away.
It's a little easier to work around a wind wall than it is a Braum shield. Yeah. So the tidal wave should actually be able to land. They're using it right now, trying to get the turret down. If they can navigate around this, they're going to go.
So close to bubble, just missing Acumen. Nice sidestep. They lose the turret, and you can see that's the time a team tries to re-engage when the other team is not in position. You've been standing still, firing at a turret, but LMQ is already in the right positioning.
Notice a little bit more caution from LMQ this time around, but it's slowly working for them. Right now, Kha'Zix's back in base. Darius ultimate still barely on cooldown. Second inhibitor may break the back of TSM. They're going to want to fight this before it goes down. Yet, one of TSM's Achilles heels against LMQ is the unwillingness to go in when it's not 100% fight.
Maybe if that wind wall's down there.
Here they go, baby.
Watching Moore's ultimate. There is the tidal wave. That's what they wanted. Xiao in by himself, and he gets deleted. This gives TSM time to focus. 1 and 2. That's going to be no name going down. The focus now into Ackerman. Beautiful job on the backside for him to get a kill over himself. And Bjergsen's going to stay alive here. One more bomb could definitely be bad news bears for him, but it looks like they're going to be able to get that one down. Bubble Trouble is the name for that kill. And is on the base. Look, see what was happening during the fight.
You can see TSM waited until the last possible moment to get that fight. And a bit of a misplay there by Xiao, extending beyond the range of more Zillion ultimate, eventually led to another one-team fight for TSM. But boy, do they ever have their backs against the wall. They have to wait for their inhibitors to respawn before they can pretty much do anything, because their base is wide open.
And you can
even know if Ackerman can solo this dragon.
Maybe.
It hits pretty hard.
I'm going to give him a thumbs up and hope he can do it. We definitely saw that LMQ almost, they liked what happened there, but there was a bit of head shaking. There was kind of a small facepalm coming in as well. That could have been cleaner, and they know it.
Watch this. Xiao lands the tornado, and he's like, I guess he has to go, but it's only onto a Mundo. He gets eaten by an exhaust, and then Moore is down as well. And here, the ultimate gets used onto himself as he's getting jumped on, which just opens the door for Vasily to get pretty much obliterated right there. The debuff from Bjergsen is able to dot him out right at the end. So a really nice set of plays there by Bjergsen, charging in at just the right time. And he's turning himself into quite a threat. If he finishes that death cap onto Fizz, he'll be able to one-shot a lot of people despite this 10,000 gold disadvantage by TSM.
Get back to those team fights. Bjergsen really thrives, and he's the one to start to pull the team and put him on his back. Doing a great job right now. You can see the kind of vision that TSM has, just cleavering Xiao as he comes through the brush. TSM's gaining a lot of good ground here, but it's still 10,000 gold lead. And Vasily's on the other side. A rapid-fire Tristana is going to drop that Nexus after
Bjergsen wants to flank. If he can start on anyone, great ward by Moore to stop that flank in its tracks.
Got that sixth sense.
It's all about the initiation right here. LMQ has went a little bit too deep on their last several initiations.
Just waiting, seeing Amazing on the outside. He wants to try and add the pressure, but he knows he can't just dive straight in. There's way too much focus and distance from Team Solo Mid on their own side of the map.
Ackerman is so strong right now. You can see him just running around with that Zillion speed boost. It's like a monster that no one wants to get close to.
So big. Charged up on his rod. Saracen brace for him as well. Very consistent play from Ackerman in the top lane all season from LMQ as they try their hand one more time. Jat here. Could be the final one.
I love the positioning from TSM here, though, how they're keeping their assassin threats around the side to prevent a front line from bullying through. But if Amazing gets caught like that, that's bad news.
He's forced to jump
Ultimate
back.
down.
They lose a bit of that coordination they have in the positioning. They know it's just one on the outside now, and they're able to run through the base,
oh, no.
forcing TSM to leave and try and back.
This has to be the fight. Mundo is behind them with Fizz. They're collapsing.
Here comes Dyrus onto the backside. He's got 4 members focused on him. Vasily can't do much. He gets hit right into the wall as well. It's going to be amazing. Very low as he jumps out of the fight. What a spread out fight. So much focus to try and be used here. TSM coming out on top once again in their own base. Vasily very low with that red buff on. Whoa, amazing goes for Brew. He gets taken down by No Name, but it will be traded right back to Lustboy. The retribution kills are everywhere.
Look at the stress on TSM's faces right now. They are holding on by a thread. What is it with these game ones of these best of fives? They're always delivering the strongest games. Vasily lives. He is getting stronger and stronger as this game goes, and TSM's base is getting weaker and weaker. Both inhibitors down. No defending Nexus turrets. The Baron is up. Oh no.
Single
plays.
Oh,
Vasily!
The plays! You gotta be kidding.
He's gonna go for the Nexus.
He's got these turret waves.
He could go for the Nexus.
He doesn't even really, he doesn't need though. He's like, wait, there's turrets. No, there's no turrets. I don't need minions. I'm going right for the Nexus. Dyrus is not gonna be able to do anything here. Wait a minute. He's considering it.
Just
jump by him. Turn on the rapid fire.
Radwitz to slow him down.
Oh my gosh, he's actually gonna take him down.
Oh my god, this
Vasily
game.
hesitates and considers. Dyrus comes out with the upper hand and TSM stays alive.
The damage of Mundo. He wants more. He's going to have to be a little bit careful. I mean, there's no defense for TSM's base right now. Vasily nearly single-handedly won the game there for LMQ. Now the Baron is up. This is an indefensible Baron for TSM. They have to be on wave duty. And they're going to have to win yet another fight at their base if they want to keep this game alive.
Wow. This is getting crazy right now. Coming up on 40 minutes, LMQ uncontested on their 3rd Baron of the game. Somehow TSM rather, still keeping themselves alive. The last inhibitor turret in the bottom, I don't even think is in the eyes here of LMQ unless they're saying, we want to force a fight and you're going to have to defend this.
As long as the inhibitors are down for TSM, it is absolutely the right call for LMQ to run to the bottom lane. TSM is able to win 5v5s, as you can see with this team comp. As long as the Fizz is getting the right spells off, and boy has Bjergsen been performing fantastically in team fights.
See this again.
We're going to take a look at this little Fog of War assassination. Just jumps and flashes to finish off Turtle. And then a red buff Tristana is no match for Nami. Just completely probably scaring the crap out of Wild Turtle right there. You win a fight 4-1, you're like, all right, why would a Tristana stick around as the only member of his team?
Well, it also shows how long TSM has been in their own base. It's completely dark, even right outside their wall. They've got a few pink wards down by the dragon, but that's only because they're trying to get a little bit back without losing the entire team.
Yeah, that is a great point. You can see LMQ just decides to leave the pink ward there for some reason. I was going to say, delete all the wards that TSM has outside their base. This is real trouble for TSM. They have to fight immediately, and even then the super minions would probably kill their Nexus. They need a miracle.
Yeah, Vasily's getting the speed up for the in and out. Dyrus on the home guards gets himself a little bit of Talisman of Ascension, and that's been stopped.
LMQ is doing the right thing. As long as they just run away, they know the TSM can't chase for long because there are no turrets or inhibitors to defend the monstrous minions coming into their base. There goes the final outer turret.
Always speeding up Vasily, making sure the Trist is safe. They're able to dodge the wave. No Name gets a bit of a ride there, but Dyrus is the focus. He's got grievous wounds, it wears off. HP's coming back from the ultimate. This is Bjergsen coming out of the Zanya's. Where's the damage? Vasily gets chrono shift, whether he goes down or not. He puts himself closer. I like the idea. He's going to be ready to start taking down even more. Game one, without a doubt. Back and forth through the middle, but LMQ finally puts their fall man inhibitor.
Both inhibitors respawn.
They're going to have to get this one. There's too many to be stopped, though. Turtle and Dyrus can only do so much. What a game. 41 minutes in, 22-21. LMQ finds the victory.
Game ones in these series, all throughout the North American LCS playoffs, have been fantastic. This one, no exception. TSM definitely had some legitimate shots to win this game, but if we think about the game as a whole, LMQ was in control at the start of the game. They were in control at the middle of the game. They overdove once, which nearly led to disaster. They had a bad fight in the mid-game, but then Vasily and No Name kept it together under pressure, got the Baron back, and then just continued to power through. They never relinquished their gold lead. By the end of it, they were up 1 kill, 22-21, and they take game 1.
It always amazes me how fast and how reckless LMQ will come back to a fight down on people at a big objective and somehow come out on top. We've seen dragon fights where they've kind of gone around the batting order, and we've seen more than one person come in because it was such an early dragon, so the death timers are low, and LMQ is not afraid to keep putting themselves in that fray because they know they'll come out with the wins, or at least Vasily will get a few kills, and they'll know to work off of that. Their kind of win priorities are definitely in line when they start a game.
And it's still going to be a close matchup. I really feel like LMQ had a very strong pick and ban phase this game, which threw TSM for a bit of a loop early. But then after that, we saw how Bjergsen's Fizz was actually a huge threat in the late game and how it nearly was able to turn it back around. But all the synergies that LMQ had built into that team comp, taking Lee Sin away from Amazing, getting the Yasuo onto Bjergsen, getting the favorite champion on Triss, those are kind of everything that LMQ wanted. And now that TSM knows that they can play Zillion, knows that they're going to go for those things, I think they're going to block him come game 2.
I'm interested to see if LMQ takes a lot more time picking next time.
We'll see.
Obviously, there's going to be the bans against them. Be a little tougher. Don't forget to share your favorite highlights with us at LOL Esports and use the hashtag LCS Big Plays. But for now, we're going to send it over to the guys at the analyst desk for more on that exciting LMQ win.
Thanks, Riv. And that was a fantastically back-and-forth game there between LMQ and TSM. But I feel like LMQ got everything they wanted from Champion Select.
Yeah, there were a ton of options left open, too. The Maokai was still up, and nobody picked it or banned it away. I thought we were going to see TSM, but no, they go with the Mundo top. And I think that LMQ, they get your hands on that Tristana that Vasily is just so good on. He is 7-0 on that champion now, and you just can't let him have it. He was known for it in China. He comes over here, and he's still wreaking havoc with it.
Probably you had mentioned during Champions like that it was a pretty early Yasuo pick, but it didn't really seem to matter. He played it pretty flawlessly, was crushing in CS, picked up some kills, and was dealing quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, well, they banned out Syndra and Zed, which have chances to kind of make a move on Yasuo, and then they first picked Ryze. So they basically took out everything that's good against Yasuo in the mid lane, except for the Fizz, which I think was Bjergsen's pocket pick against it. But I think the pick and ban phase kind of showed LMQ's confidence. They blind picked their top laner and blind picked their mid laner, and they just go in with, what are you going to do about it? So I think they got all the picks they wanted, and they're really comfortable on them.
Yeah, and then they went for a Lucian Nami first pick bot lane here for TSM. And I was thinking, why don't you take the Yasuo Maokai, go with a combo like that and set yourself up for some team fights. But they didn't do it. Instead, they put that on the bottom lane because they want to do well against Vasily, but they didn't take the hypercarrier Tristana for the late game. They went with the Lucian for the lane bully.
And in fact, as the lane bullies, No Name focused them immediately in the game. At 4 minutes, a Lee Sin lane gank, picking up an early kill for more. And that seemed to kind of, push things in a tough direction for TSM.
Yeah, Vasily, he just got going very early on. He got through that early game hump the mid game hump of Tristana and started just showing up to fights and baiting so much pressure to that bot lane that it freed up objectives for the rest of the team near top.
Now, probably you've played against LMQ. They are known as this hyper-aggressive team, and they showed it. They got that early kill at 4 minutes, and then they're just relentless. They're running to different lanes. They're roaming. They're taking objectives. They're looking for brawls. What do you do as a team to slow them down?
I think the only way to kind of stop that aggression is to match it in a way. Kind of make your own plays. Because I know if TSM warded up and just played defensively, they would have gotten rolled over. So I was really happy with TSM kind of making that play bot, even though they're sneaking Baron. I'm glad that TSM's making these plays because if you don't, you're just going to get 3-0'd in this kind of series. So I know TSM's fighting really hard. So although LMQ is having really strong early games, I wouldn't discount TSM yet.
Yeah, the other way to do it is stall it out to 80 minutes.
Yeah, there's always that option.
Yeah,
but
buddy.
You mentioned that 22-minute Baron sneak. So we're gonna pull that up on your screen here, probably if you don't mind walking us through it, because it was a pretty fantastic bait by LMQ, where TSM thought they were making a great play to get back into it.
Yeah, we can roll this right now. So the LMQ leaves their bot lane bot and purposely overextends. So TSM's looking at it going, oh man, we got a free bot lane kill right now. So they're not even paying attention to the fact that they don't have a ward on Baron. So this is just really good execution. They throw Moore and Vasily basically, you know, to the slaughter because it's giving them free Baron at this time. And now Vasily and Moore, all they have to do is just stall it out. Don't die that fast so they can't kind of react to the Baron if they call it.
And 22 minutes into the game, you're happy to give up those 2 kills for a Baron because there wasn't a ton that TSM could take off the back end of those 2 kills. So you pull out Baron 22 minutes in. On TSM, what are your thoughts going into the next game, knowing that LMQ is willing to try some of these risky things? Now all of a sudden you need to have vision everywhere. So what is your game plan going into the next game?
More vision, and don't let Xiao get a Blade of the Ruined King by 20 minutes. That's the big one there. I remember you were just like, how does he have that already? Because he's hitting the Baron for 300 plus damage every time.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Yeah, making sure their early game, they don't die to jungle ganks. I think that's kind of like the big thing with that. Lee Sin was able to just run into the jungle, like the enemy's red side jungle, because he had gotten that early first blood. And it kind of just, yeah, TSM wasn't able to do anything early because of bot lane died early, and then Lee Sin was just able to control the map.
And there was a point in the game where it looked like TSM had, gotten a handle on it and might be coming away with the victory as they attempted Baron about 30 minutes into the game. We're going to pull that one up as well because what happens is No Name ends up coming in and stealing it. So Zyrene, I'm going to let you take this one.
Yeah, start rolling the clip out. Baron is just getting them all very low. No Name comes up. He actually kicks Amazing out of the pit and applies the pressure as the smite comes down, and it still gets picked up by Vasily there, just barely. So the pressure was on Amazing to make the smite play immediately because the Lee Sin was coming in, and he had the Q on the Baron. So you know that the resonating strike was going to follow up. So a lot of pressure there, and that is actually one of the smites that we saw Amazing miss again because he lost his second red buff, which was actually very big and a large part of that jungle pressure that we didn't see throughout that early mid-game portion around 7 minutes.
Yeah, something that bothers me about that Baron play there, I have to point it out because you're against a Lee Sin. You see them coming in. Everyone in TSM filed into the back of the Baron pit, let him land his Q on the Baron of all things. A Lee Sin is getting into the pit.
Oh, yeah.
If he wants to get into the pit, he's getting into the pit. So at least force him to Q one of you. That way he doesn't have the execute damage, and it really is a 50-50 as opposed to a 60-40, right? And then who knows? Maybe Amazing would have walked away with that Baron, or they wouldn't have had the damage to take it at all. So I don't know. Are there thoughts on that? Probably is that
peeved you?
I know. It does a little bit. Like from a shock calling perspective, is that something that is called for? Like everyone gets to the back of the pit, or is that just like I don't want to die? I don't want to die.
I think the call to go to the back of the pit was they were under the assumption they could do enough damage to get Baron into smite range. So they moved to the back thinking, okay, we can get this, and then maybe we'll have Kha'Zix jump to get out, maybe we'll have flashes to get out. But it turned out, yeah, they went to the back of the pit and didn't have the damage to take it down. So I think that was just, yeah, they didn't really realize that the Mundo damage on Baron goes down as the HP goes down. And then I think Kha'Zix was taking it for a bit, so their DPS just started spiking as Baron was going down, and they just didn't really adapt quickly enough to it.
Well, LMQ walked away with that Baron, but there was still a lot of back and forth following that. We saw TSM take a lot of fights. So if that's any indication, this series is going to be fantastic because they extended that game really well. And LMQ, they gave us a solid win. And TSM, they didn't show a sign of backing off. So I think we're in for a great series. Now we want to shift gears, though, for just a minute and throw out our Twitter question of the day because we didn't do it earlier. And it may sound familiar. Once again, we're asking you, how do you PAX Prime? The first batch of responses were so good that we want another helping of those pictures from PAX, not from Prax, and how you and your friends are enjoying the action at home. So tweet us at LolEsports and use the hashtag LCS. We're going to take a quick break, though, and when we return, we'll get back into our semifinal action with Game 2 between TSM and LMQ. Stay tuned.
Okay. Count of 3, okay? Guys? 1, 2, 3.
That's the other left.
Set up a wind wall and then we dash in front of your turret. These guys
are afraid to go in. Wild Turtle's going to be hit up. That's a bomb that he can't get away from. Pearson throws down to Zanya's.
We can kill. Wait out. Incoming.
Ah, good job!
It looks like it's...
Oh man,
the steal is a real opportunity.
Range. Sonic Wave's on, goes in, stolen! My God, it was actually stolen by Vasily!
He's going to be ready to start taking down even more. Game 1, without a doubt. Back and forth. LMQ finds the victory.